Saudi Arabia has two vulnerable resources that the Iranians at any time can strike at through the proxies, the Houthis, right? You have the desalination plants, which is the only source of fresh water for Saudi Arabia. If you knock out the desalination plants in Saudi Arabia, Saudi Arabia loses all its fresh water in 2 weeks' time, and there's no way of replenishing that fresh water. Then, of course, you have the oil fields, which are extremely vulnerable to rocket attacks. So, Saudi Arabia, the main U.S. ally of Arab nations in the Middle East, it's extremely vulnerable to Iranian attacks. Then you have the Strait of Hormuz, which controls a great deal of the world's trade. If Iran closes that off, then that cuts off not just oil to East Asia, but it cuts off revenue for American allies like Oman, Saudi Arabia, the UAE, Qatar. And the last strategic vulnerability is you have all sorts of American bases throughout the Middle East, especially in Kuwait, especially in Saudi Arabia, Qatar. And these are legitimate military targets if America declares war on Iran. So another way of saying this is Americans, their ability to inflict pain on Iran, we know it's predictable, and we know that the Iranians can sustain it because this sanctions regime has been going on for the past few decades. But the Iranians' ability to inflict pain on American allies, as well as the American military, as well as American consumers, well, they're not really predictable. And so I would say the main advantage going into this war, just from a geopolitical analytical perspective, I would say it's very much in favor of the Iranians. This does not mean that the Americans and Israelis will not be able to inflict tremendous damage on a nation. But ultimately, war is not decided by resources, weapons, or technology. It's really decided by a people's willingness to fight and die for what they believe in. And I think when it comes to this question, then I think the Iranians have a huge advantage over the Americans. Also, let's not forget that the Iranians have been studying. The Americans have been studying the American strategy in the Middle East for the past 20 years. And I'm pretty sure they developed counter strategies against an American attack.